Driving through our memories, hand in hand, you and me, we were making plans to be forever, babe. I know you don't need me, but I see you and me, we can make it happen. Be my forever, babe. Leave the light on for me, well, honey, let me down slowly. I've never been a dreamer till I met you. I know I don't deserve it, but honey, I mean it.
It's one of the biggest days a person can have in their life, and I'm just so happy to be surrounded by so many loved ones and so many people that I truly care about, and I know they care about me. And like, I would not want to do this and go through this with anyone other than Jennifer. So I'm just so ready to do this and have a good time and start our lives together. It's I can't even put into words how excited I am to take the next step, and yeah, super happy.
With you, 'cause you make it better. It's you forever, babe. Leave the light on for me.
I feel like she really balances me out. I'm a lot to handle, and I think probably a lot of people know that. And she's the one person that, you know, puts me back in place, and really, she's my other half. So I'm really happy to have that in my life, and I'm glad it's in the form of her. Jennifer, you know I love you more than anything. Shoot, I'm getting choked up just thinking about it. I just want you to know that I love you, and I'm in this forever. And when we say our vows and when we do this, it really means forever for me. And I know it does for you too, and I'm just really excited to do this.
Dear family and friends, we have gathered to celebrate one of life's most significant events, the joining of two lives into one, the celebration of devotion and love called marriage. Erick and Jennifer are grateful for your presence and your support on this important day in their lives. A marriage is not the joining of two worlds, rather it's the abandoning of two worlds in order that a new world might be formed. We welcome all who witness this sacred union, for weddings are an important part of God's grand design for our fulfillment and happiness. When God walked among us as Jesus Christ, he performed his first miracle at the wedding in the little village called Canaan. His presence at the wedding indicates that he did not shun such blessed events. His miracle of changing water into wine indicates that, in fact, he blessed such events. And we welcome him to this wedding today. Let's pray. Author of love, you promise that where two or three come together in your name, you will be there. Believing your loving promise, we unashamedly welcome you here as our honored guest today. We ask that you once again visit a wedding, this wedding, and likewise favor us with your presence, your provision, your power, and your peace. We thank you for this day, this ceremony, and this delightful couple, Jennifer and Erick. May this ceremony strengthen them as a couple and bring glory to your name. We commend it all to your care, asking it in Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Marriage is a very special gift to the world. It is God's ideal mechanism for stretching us to reach our highest potential. The marriage ceremony is not a magic wand that removes the complexities of personality and background, but it serves as an instrument to maximize the best parts of two individuals while changing them into one. An old proverb says, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. With this in mind, let this journey of marriage begin by taking a very important first step, a step of separation from parental control and provision, and a step toward your two independent lives, being merged into one. Who gives this woman to be married to this man?
I do.
All righty, maybe seated there. He's gonna get you right where you need to go. All righty. All righty. In their book, 5 Stones, Martin and Sanford quote Henry Ford, who says, Henry Ford says that there are two kind of people in the world, those who think they can and those who think they can't, and both of them are correct. The motif being that if we think we can, we can. In this marriage, Jennifer and Erick, you're going to have to think that you can. You're going to have to believe that you have what it takes to have a marriage that will stand the test of time. And what I want to do today is give you a few probably reminders, something that you already know, so you can have a marriage that will last the test of time. If Hebrews chapter 11 is the faith chapter of the Bible, then 1 Corinthians chapter 13 is the love chapter of the Bible. Difference being, in Hebrews chapter 11 talks about faith, it defines faith. It says faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. But in our text in 1 Corinthians 13, Paul doesn't define faith as much as he describes faith. He says things like love is patient and love is kind. Love doesn't act arrogantly. It doesn't boast. It doesn't act unbecomingly. He gets to verse 7 and he gives you 4 things I want you to remember. And we're going to call these, this love, you being just so deeply, madly in love with each other, your go-to move. I want to speak from the thought of your go-to move. Here's the 4 things Paul says. 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 7, he said, love bears all things. It believes all things. It hopes all things. And it endures all things. First of all, love bears all things. The picture there is, it kind of connotes something that's a covering, as in like a roof that would keep out water. So love bears all things. It becomes this cover for your relationship. Peter says it like this in 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 8. He said that love does what? It covers a multitude of sin. So, and if we think of roofs, and roofs keep some things out, they keep the sun out, they keep inclement weather out, but they also keep some things in, like heat when we need it, like air when we need it, like noise that we wouldn't want to get out. The point is, so that word almost connotes keeping some stuff in-house that ought to be kept in-house. In other words, love bears all things. Love doesn't make public that which should be kept private. So your go-to move, love, it does what, Jennifer? It bears all things. It's going to keep some things right between you two that should be kept there. It's this covering for your relationship. Love bears all things. It also believes all things. Paul does not mean that love indiscriminately believes even that which is false and wrong. What he's saying is love gives the other what? The benefit of the doubt, that they're coming from a good place, that what they intend and what they said, it wasn't intended to hurt the other. So love what? Kind of looks at the other in faith, believing they want the best for me. Love bears all things. It believes all things. And he said love hopes all things. We talked about it in your premarital counseling that you're roughly 30. And let's say that the Lord God gives you 60 years of marital bliss. You're going to live to be 90 and be married for 60 years. You probably will only have out of 60 years, maybe 1 year that's rough, that's tough if you sprinkled it in all throughout your relationship. But for that 1 year, hope is going to be what you need. Hope says that how things are today, they won't always be. When we have mountains to climb and valleys to go through, maybe potentially some lean years in your relationship, hope is what's going to get you through. Hope says that there's something better on the horizon. Hope says that weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Love, your go-to move, it bears all things. It believes all things. It hopes all things. And lastly, it endures all things. Where it bearing all things is kind of this covering. It enduring all things is almost this foundation. It has the idea of something that remains behind. So where others would have left and others would have given up and others would have cashed in their chips and others would have said, I've had enough, love is what's going to stay behind through thick and thin, through the good times, through the bad times, through the challenging times. Love does what? It bears all things. It believes all things. It hopes all things. And it endures all things. There was a 10-year-old boy who lost his left arm in a car accident. His parents put him in a judo class. His instructor is an old, wise master. After 3 months of training, young boy realizes he's only taught me one move. He goes to the instructor. He says, Sensei, don't you think it's time for me to learn more than just this one move? Sensei said, no, it's a simple move. It's just one move, but it's the only move you'll need. Didn't understand, but the training continued. 10 months into the training, the sensei takes him to a tournament. First match, wins easily. Second match, he wins easily. It's to the third match, it's more of a challenge. The guy gets impatient, rushes the guy with one arm. He uses his go-to move, pins him, wins the match. He's in the finals. In the finals, this guy, his opponent, was bigger, more experienced, and stronger than he was. Everybody knew the guy didn't have a chance. Matter of fact, the match starts, referee calls time out, steps in to stop it, And then the sensei looks over at his sensei. Sensei said, no, let him continue. Referee stepped back reluctantly, let the match go. Shortly after that, the guy makes a critical mistake. The guy with one arm uses his go-to move, pins a guy, he wins the match. He wins the tournament, he's the champion. On the way home, the instructor and the young boy reviewed every move of every match. It was then that the young boy got to ask the sensei what he really wanted to know. How did I win the tournament with one move? He said, you won for two reasons. He said, number one, you've nearly mastered one of the most difficult moves in all of judo. And secondly, the only known defense for the move is for your opponent to grab your left arm. Said that to say, in this relationship, you're going to be faced with some situations that are bigger than you, that look insurmountable, and how can we get past this? You'll face some experiences, that you've never been in this place before, and how do we have the savvy? Do we have the know-how to deal with it? You'll be faced with some situations that look just stronger than you, and we don't have the strength to make it. Always remember your go-to move. Why? Why is love your go-to move? Love bears all things. It believes all things. It hopes all things. It endures all things. Love is your go-to move. Paul says what? Love never fails. Your vows.
Do we face each other? Do we face each other?
Hmm?
Do we face each other? Or do we face each other, or do we stay like this?
The taking of vows is an act of faith and commitment. We stand publicly and declare our commitment to each other before God and people. This is done with the witness and support of family and friends. We also declare our absolute dependence upon God's resources, which are utterly beyond human strength. Our marriage vows give glory to God, for it is only God's grace that enables such love and commitment to exist. I encourage you both to seek God's resources of love and commitment. I now ask you to face each other, pardon me, and pledge your vows with the desire of crafting your own love song in marriage. Erick, repeat after me. I, Erick,
I, Erick,
having received the gift
having received the gift
of God's love and grace
of God's loving grace
in my life,
in my life,
do commit my love to you, Jennifer.
do commit my love to you, Jennifer.
I will seek to love you.
I will, what?
I will seek to love
I
you
will seek to love you
with an unselfish love
with an unselfish love
that will never give up,
that will never give up,
an abiding commitment
and abiding commitment
that will never break,
that will never break,
an unspeakable joy
an unspeakable joy
that will grow
that will grow
for as long as we both shall live.
for as long as we both shall live.
Jennifer, repeat after me. I, Jennifer,
I, Jennifer,
having received the gift
having received the gift
of God's love and grace
of God's loving grace
in my life,
in my life,
do commit my love to you, Erick.
do commit my love to you, Erick.
I will seek to love you
I will seek to love you
with an unselfish love
with an unselfish love
that will never give up,
that will never give up,
an abiding commitment
an abiding commitment
that will never break,
that will never break,
an unspeakable joy
an unspeakable joy
that will grow
that will grow
for as long as we both shall live.
for as long as we both shall live.
All right, the rings, Jonathan. Okay, you can go sit by mommy, baby. Lay. Let me get together. Keep holding hands, I like it. All righty. The ring is symbolic in a couple of ways. Number one, if you notice a ring, it has no end to it. It kind of speaks to the eternity of love. Secondly, rings are usually worn on what we call the ring finger, because in ancient times it was believed that there was a vein running from this finger straight to the heart. So every time you see your ring, let it remind you of your heart and your love for your spouse. All righty. Erick, take this and place that on Jennifer's finger, ring finger, and repeat after me. Very easy twist. Jennifer, I give you this ring
Jennifer, I give you this ring
as a holy witness of my love
as a holy witness of my love
and of my trust in God,
and of my trust in God,
to be our provision,
to be our provision,
our protection,
our protection,
our power,
our power,
and our peace.
and our peace.
I will love you forever,
I will love you forever,
for that is our go-to move.
for that is our go-to move.
All right, Jennifer, take that, place that on Erick's ring finger, and repeat after me. Erick, I give you this ring
Erick, I give you this ring
as a holy witness of my love
as a holy witness of my love
and of my trust in God,
and of my trust in God,
to be our provision,
to be our provision,
our protection,
our protection,
our power,
our power,
and our peace.
and our peace.
I will love you forever,
I will love you forever,
for that is our go-to move.
for that is our go-to move.
Okay, I'm going to stand to the side. I want you to continue facing each other so that you may see the gift that you are, that your spouse to be is to you. These are the hands of your best friend, young and strong and full of love for you. They are holding yours on your wedding day as you promise to love each other today, tomorrow, and forever. These are the hands that will work alongside yours as together you build your future. These are the hands that will passionately love you and cherish you through the years, and with the slightest touch will comfort you like no other. These are the hands that will hold you when fear or grief temporarily comes to you. These are the hands that will wipe the tears from your eyes, tears of sorrow and tears of joy. These are the hands that will tenderly hold your children, the hands that will join your family as one. These are the hands that will give you strength when you need it, support and encouragement to pursue your dreams, and comfort through difficult times. And lastly, these are the hands that even when wrinkled and aged will still be searching for yours, still giving you the same unspoken tenderness in just a touch. Erick and Jennifer, you have been reminded of your go-to move. You've exchanged vows, you've exchanged rings, you've reflected on the hands that will care for each other. I now pronounce you husband and wife. Erick. Not yet. Erick, you may salute your bride. That means kiss. A closing benediction. Let's pray. Father of eternal love, we thank you that we have been privileged to witness with you as Erick and Jennifer have exchanged their vows and their rings in this holy and sacred hour. May you receive glory through their marriage. By your power and with your blessing, we ask that you empower these two faithfully to keep their vows, to have a love that lasts, successfully to build a marriage that is strong, joyfully live in your peace, mutually to walk in faith, and confidently live in your grace. Now to him who's able to do exceeding abundantly beyond all that we ask or think, according to the power that works within us, To him be the glory in the church and in Christ Jesus to all generations forever and ever. Amen. Friends and family of the bride and groom, it is my pleasure, turn and face them and stand right there. My pleasure to present to you Mr. and Mrs. Erick Villarreal. Go.
It's as simple as it seems, a twinkle in your eyes, the way that time slows down when you kiss me. As we fall asleep in a bed of butterflies, just close your eyes and then you'll see it. You don't ever have to look too far. You don't have to cover up your scars. You're perfect, darling, just the way you are. So before you think to rip yourself apart, open up my heart and you'll find love, 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 love. Open up my heart and you'll find love. It won't ever grow old, even when we grow up. It's up to us to stop and smell each rose. They're the colors that we show, it's the feeling that we trust, and it's the brush that we both carry. You don't ever have to look too far. You don't have to cover up your scars. You're perfect, darling, just the way you are. So before you think to rip yourself apart, open up my heart and you'll find love, 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 love. Open up my heart and you'll find love. When you're searching hard and it seems to lead to nowhere, no matter where you are, know I'll always be there. You don't ever have to look too far. You don't have to cover up your scars. You're perfect, darling, just the way you are. So before you think to rip yourself apart, open up my heart and you'll find you don't ever have to look too far. You don't have to cover up your scars. You're perfect, darling, just the way you are. So before you think to rip yourself apart, open up my heart and you'll find love, 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 love. Open up my heart and you'll find love. Yeah, oh, 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 oh. Lift your eyes off the ground, you've only begun. Rising up through the clouds, no, never give up. Climb on, climb. Lift your eyes off the ground, you've only begun. Rising up through the clouds, no, never give up. Climb on, climb on.
First up, y'all make some noise for the best man, Pablo Villarreal, and bridesmaid Stephanie Murillo. Up next, we got the groomswoman Liz Rojas and bridesmaid Lupe Villarreal. All right, y'all make some noise. The groomsmen, Johnson Ho and bridesmaid Vanessa Mendoza.
Let's celebrate. There's a party going on right here. A celebration to last throughout the year.
I like that.
So bring your good time.
And last but not least, we got groomsman Desmond Starr and bridesmaid Priscilla Torres. Y'all make some noise.
Come on now. Let's all celebrate and have a good time. We gon' celebrate and have a good time.
All right, and now for the moment we've all been waiting for. I'd like to ask everybody to stand up at this moment. Please, everybody, stand up. Stand up, pull those phones out, those cameras out, and y'all make some noise for the newlyweds, Mr. and Mrs. Villarreal.
So crazy right now. Most incredibly, it's your girl, me. It's your boy, Young. Ready? History in the making, part 2. So crazy right now.
I look a step so deep in your eyes. I touch on you more and more.
All right, and at this time, the newlyweds will have their very first dance of the evening. Once again, y'all make some noise for the newlyweds, Mr. and Mrs. Villarreal.
Yo solía pensar que sabía quién eras tú. No sabía que dentro de ti yo iba a encontrar la luz. No sabía que existía un mundo así. No sabía que podía ser tan feliz. No, no, no. Y la vida pasaba de largo, vacía, sin emoción. Sin emoción. No había nada flotando en el aire, abrazándome el corazón. Y llegaste tú. Y el mundo me abrazó. Y llegaste tú. Y el mundo se paró. Y llegaste tú. Y me sorprendió el poder que había en este amor. Y llegaste tú. Una bendición. Aún recuerdo el momento en que todo cambió. Y llegaste tú. Y me sorprendió el poder que hay en este amor. Y llegaste tú. Una bendición. Aún recuerdo cuando llegaste tú. Me sorprendió todo de ti. De blanco y negro al color me convertí. Sé que no es fácil decir te amo. Yo tampoco lo esperaba, pero así es el amor. Simplemente pasó y todo tuyo ya soy. Antes que pase más tiempo contigo, amor, tengo que decir que eres el amor de mi vida. Antes que te ame más, escucha por favor, déjame decir que todo te di y no hago implicar.
Once again, y'all make some noise for the newlyweds. Ese aplauso.
Así lo sentí cuando te vi.
All right, and at this time, we like to ask for Moises Velasquez to the center of the dance floor.
Poco a poco te me vas, sin que pueda yo hacer nada. El tiempo no perdona y se va igual que la aurora. Poco a poco te me vas y miro pasar el tiempo. Y por más que yo lo intento, no no he podido detenerlo. De niño yo le dije a Dios que quería ser grande para ser como tú. No sabía lo que pedir, aunque en verdad no quería. De niño yo le dije a Dios que adelantara el tiempo para estar junto a ti. He cambiado de opinión, aunque ser como tú es un gran honor. Detente, no camines hacia donde corre el tiempo. Regálame mejor este momento y enrolla en tus brazos al niño que ama a papá. Detente y juntos caminemos de regreso. Regálame en la frente un tierno beso y con mis ahorros el tiempo poderte comparar para ser por siempre el niño de papá. Poco a poco te me vas y no logro comprenderlo. Y es que la gente que es buena debería ser eterna.
Tantos momentos de felicidad, tanta caridad, tanta fantasía, tanta pasión, tanta imaginación y tanto dar amor hasta llegar el día. Tantas maneras de decirte amo, no parece humano lo que tú me das. Cada deseo que tú me adivinas, cada vez que ríes, rompes mi rutina. Y la paciencia con la que me escuchas y la convicción con la que siempre luchas. Cómo me llenas, cómo me liberas, quiero estar contigo si vuelvo a nacer. Le pido a Dios que me alcance la vida y me dé tiempo para regresar, aunque sea tan solo un poco de lo mucho que me das. Le pido a Dios que me alcance la vida para decirte todo lo que siento gracias a tu amor. El sentimiento de que no soy yo, de que hay algo más cuando tú me miras. La sensación de que no existe el tiempo cuando están tus manos sobre mis mejillas. Cómo me llenas, cómo me liberas, quiero estar contigo si vuelvo a nacer. Le pido a Dios que me alcance la vida y me dé tiempo para regresar, aunque sea tan solo un poco de lo mucho que me das. Le pido a Dios que me alcance la vida para decirte todo lo que siento gracias a tu amor. Me da la luz que hace despertar, que me aleja de la oscuridad, que me llena de calor el mundo para que no pierda el rumbo. Le pido a Dios que me alcance.
Well, Eric, you've been my best friend forever. Jennifer, he's your problem now. Good luck with that. But congratulations, man. You're a real man now. You're a real boy. All right. I love you, bro.
Woo! All right, guys. Jenny, Eric, I love y'all. Oh, I'm so nervous. Jenny, you know how much you mean to me. You're like my sister. And when you told me you were going to propose, I was like, about time. I'm glad you found your Prince Charming. You found your queen. I'm here for y'all. I love y'all so much. Congratulations.
All right, so mine's a little longer. Good afternoon, everyone. For some of you that don't know me, I'm Jennifer's friend, Lupe. I have known Jennifer for about 14 years now, and she's always been the type of person that when she sets her mind on something, she does everything in her power to accomplish it, which is why I'm not surprised you were able to pull this amazing wedding off in 3.5 months. I remember when we were younger, and we used to talk about our weddings and how you would envision it, and now we're here witnessing you marrying your best friend in this beautiful venue. I am so thankful for you and the friendship we have created. Even if we do live in different states, we have managed to make our friendship grow, and for that I will always be grateful for. Eric, I hope you know you're a lucky man because you are marrying a woman who will always have your back and always find new ways on surprising you. Marriage is a beautiful thing, so keep growing and always communicate. I wish you both a lifetime of love and happiness. Here's to the bride and groom.
Testing, 1, 2, 3, cool. Okay. I feel so honored to be part of your special day. I remember how crushed I felt when I found out we weren't really cousins. But that's okay, because we're still family. And I want to thank our grandmas for being such close friends. I wish you guys a lifetime of happiness, and I look forward to continuing this beautiful friendship throughout generations. Sorry. Our children will be cousins, and their children will be cousins, etc. Eric, you're a very lucky man. Welcome to the family.
Well, I didn't have any written, but Eric, you know how much I love you. You are a brother to me. We grew up together, and I have my sister, I have you, and you're everything in life, and I'm so happy for you and Jennifer. Jennifer, I love you so much. You're everything that completes Eric, and I'm so excited to see the future that comes with this beautiful marriage. I love you guys so much, and I wish you guys the best.
Hola. Lo voy a hacer en español por los que no lo pueden entender. I don't want to cry. Okay. Hace como un mes antes que Eric le pidió a Jennifer, me vino Eric y me dijo, Vanessa, quiero propose to Jennifer. And I was like, oh, de tiempo. Okay, pero sí, y nosotros con sus familias le hicimos una fiesta y en ese día pues miramos también cuánto amor tienen los dos y estoy tan agradecida por ser sus amigos y les deseo un matrimonio bonito y por los que también no me conocen, conocí Jennifer hace 6 años en nuestro trabajo con niños con autismo y nos pusimos mejor amigas porque el primer día les enseñamos nosotros Pinterest boards. En ese Pinterest board le enseñamos nuestra boda y cómo lo quería y 6 años después de ese día ya estamos aquí con el sueño que tenías que me enseñaste ese día. So, muchas gracias por tenerme en este día and letting me be a part of it. I love y'all.
Got that. That's good. Hola, me llamo Janssen. Bienvenido. Okay, very good. Thank you. Yeah, I've known Eric since I was in 8th grade. This thing is very loud. And weird flex. I've known Eric since I was in 8th grade. He's my best friend. I don't even know like a time in my life that I can remember without him. Really. I think I was there for like their second date. I think it was at the state fair. Was that like y'all's like couples date? Yeah. I was there for like their second date. I don't know how it happened, but I showed up. Got to meet Jennifer very early on. She's amazing. Y'all are beautiful together. I love you guys. I don't have any words of advice because I'm definitely not married. But you guys look great. You guys are going to do great. Congratulations. I love you both.
This is terrifying. It's a lot scarier up here. So my name is Pablo Villarreal. I'm his brother. And as long as I can remember, when we were kids, we used to say, I wonder what it would be like when we're married and we have kids and we start our own families. And there were beautiful talks because, we were envisioning a future, right, of some sort, and we talked about it. But the only thing that I hated was that I couldn't bear the thought that at some point in my life, I wouldn't have my brother 24/7, And that hurts because we've done everything together. We play soccer together, we've played basketball together, we play football together, we skateboarded together, we watch anime together. And we played Yu-Gi-Oh cards well into our late 20s secretly in his room where nobody would know. And you're gonna kill me for this next story. You thought that was bad. I remember the first time Erick broke up with me, actually. We, in the same, context that we did everything together. We even showered together when we were little, showered together. So I remember one day, Erick was like, hey man, I'm gonna take a shower. I was like, all right, cool, let me go grab my towel. I'll be right back. And before I could leave, he was like, no, I'm taking a shower. You're not. And that really hurt my feelings. So this is a little bit worse. Growing up is inevitable, and times can be sad because space is created between you and your family as time passes. All the family can hope for is that you make the best decisions, support, and love you no matter what. I myself have been blessed with a beautiful wife and a beautiful baby boy. And it's the most amazing relationship of my life because I have found a woman that grounds me, that loves me unconditionally, that is always there for me, that has seen me when I've been in the ground. And it's something that I'm very proud of. So I speak from experience when it comes to how important a good partner is for one's life. And I believe my brother has found that in Jennifer. She has shown godlike patience, very godlike patience, resilience and understanding towards my brother. More than is humanly possible, but most importantly, they complement each other. They just make sense. As the oldest and most beloved brother and the coolest one of the family, I usually try to be a role model for them in the best way that I can. And all I can wish my brother is health, wealth, and success because he has found love. I'm excited for you guys to start this journey together. Truly I am. I don't think you could have found anybody better, man. I know this is just the beginning, and I'm looking forward to seeing both of you grow and build a family. Our family just got a little bit bigger. Welcome to the family, Jennifer.
Erick Calan, Villarreal, Rincon Gutierrez Lascano, Max Dumbo Jr. It's an inside joke. You're gonna have to cut that. I just, watch you've grown, and you could not have picked such an amazing woman. So I'm just very happy for you too, and I hope you guys have a wonderful future. I love you guys.
Hi everyone, my name is Mario, and I've been known Erick since I was in high school, and So when I met Jennifer the first time, if I can recall, we loved to go watch UFC fights, so we went to Twin Peaks. And Erick has always loved whenever I tell people how we met. And that night, it was not the best speech, because he hyped me up too much that night for Jennifer. was like telling the story. And I was like, all right, I had a few drinks in, you know, I'm there watching the fight. So it wasn't the best speech, but I'm not gonna say I'm gonna do the best to bring that speech back so everyone knows about how we met. But here it goes. Yeah, I know Erick's cousin, Vanessa and Jean, and in high school, we were in student council together, and this kid, legit, I'm not hyping him up, but everyone knew Erick in high school. There was no person in there that didn't know Erick. And when I heard his name, I was like, who is Erick? And I wanted to get to know who was Erick. And he was the most popular kid in high school. And I was like, yo, I need to know Erick. So one time after school, I was walking to my house and I took a different path. And that path took me to where Erick's house was. He swears I was talking to him because I didn't know where he lived. But I was walking, I saw him skateboarding, and I looked back, and I went back, and I was like, you know what, was that Erick? I was like, man, I think that was Erick. So I go back, and I was like, hey, man, are you Erick? He's like, yeah, what's up, man? I was like, my name is Mario. I know Jean, I know Vanessa, your cousins. We're in student council, you know, I see you all the time. And from there, it was the beginning of our friendship. And I legit never thought he was gonna get married because, you know, that boy was wildin', but. Oh, man. But he's been a great friend, and there's nothing more than, I can't say that he's such a great man, and Jennifer got himself very blessed to have him. And I wish him nothing but the best. God bless.
Ahorita nos vamos con un poquito de cumbia.
El que quiera un vino en cartón, el que quiera un vino en cartón. Y las manitos al, y las manitos al, y las manitos al. Supermercado, supermercado. Y ahora suena rococó, suena rococó. Qué calor, oh, oh. Qué calor que tengo yo, que levante la mano como yo. El que quiera un vino en cartón, el que quiera un vino en cartón.
Let's go. Esas palmas.
Todos los solteros con las palmas arriba, todos los solteros con las palmas arriba. Si sos casado, tomate el palo. Si sos casado, tomate el palo.
Sala, 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 sala.
Ay, qué lindo es ser soltero. Cómo me gusta vivir todo el día al pedo. No trabajo y no estudio porque no quiero. Ay, qué lindo es ser soltero. En el baile las pipas me dicen que soy feo. No me importa porque ser lindo no quiero. Vení, turra, vení, que te meneo. Bueno, yo te redoy porque estoy soltero. Yo te redoy porque estoy soltero. Si sos soltera, venimos pila. Si estás casada, no pasa nada. Tu novio no está, ponete resarpada. Ese gil está durmiendo, vení, meñala. Porque esta noche te hago separar. Todos los solteros con las palmas arriba, todos los solteros con las palmas arriba. Si sos casado, tomate el palo. Si sos casado, tomate el palo. Ay, qué lindo es ser soltero. Cómo me gusta vivir todo el día al pedo. No trabajo y no estudio porque no quiero. Ay, qué lindo es ser soltero. En el baile las pipas me dicen que soy feo. No me importa porque ser lindo no quiero. Vení, turra, vení, que te meneo. Bueno, yo te redoy porque estoy soltero. Yo te redoy porque estoy soltero.
Así llevamos largo tiempo, luego se marchó, dejándome un mensaje que recuerdo hoy. Lo peligroso es gracioso, lo difícil es hermoso, lo más grande es el rodeo. Me dijo con certeza que no hay más emoción que romper un sombrero, disparar un cañón, salvar la vida de un jinete cuando mal anda su suerte. Soy payaso de rodeo. Les digo ven, 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 animalito, ven, ven y sígueme, verás lo que vas a aprender. No ves que soy muy guapo, artístico, muy listo, muy gracioso, soy payaso de rodeo. poco más.
Shout out to all my people from out of town. Welcome to Texas, y'all.
Pedazos, quiérelo. No soy lo mejor, ni duro que tal vez yo pueda darte algo de valor. O tengas con amor y con mucho calor lo que nunca llegaste a tener. No rompas más mi pobre corazón, estás pegando justo, entiéndelo. Si quiebras poco más mi pobre corazón, me harás mil pedazos. Dile a tu mamá que no abra la ventana cuando te visito por las noches, que tú tienes que ver si te puedo convencer para que tú me quieras como soy. He andado por las ramas, por ti casi por nada, no tengo más motivo que tu amor. Dime algo, baby, bien, ya no me hagas perder, serás siempre mi nena como el sol. No rompas más mi pobre corazón, estás pegando justo, entiéndelo. Si quiebras poco más mi pobre corazón, me harás mil pedazos, quiérelo. No rompas más mi pobre corazón, estás pegando justo, entiéndelo. Si quiebras poco más mi pobre corazón, me harás mil pedazos, quiérelo.
Leave my thoughts on the table, set my keys by the door. All these fortunate fables, I don't think they need us no more. In my head like a blitzkrieg, on my heart like a war. Coming back for your heart now, 'cause this one ain't mine anymore. Will you wait by yourself, dressed like an angel in white on the way? Can you be like a drone, straight from a song that I've known all along? Can you take the islands, just pulling apart the waves as I fall into your arms, tearing up roses as daylight approaches, just hoping to be what you want. I can't leave it unsaid now with you right